Okay, so I want to do a video on some of the dormant crops that have started to come up. Probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, this little guy right here started coming up. This is a native wild onion. I think my dog is going to come over and pay us a visit. Look at her. Look at her. Oh, yeah, so back on track. I guess she just wanted to be on camera. Dormant wild onion. This is not like domesticated onion that has gone feral. This is native here to the cross timbers, this particular onion. There's a few different species of native wild onion in Texas, and even though I've had this in my property for about 12 years or more, I've never taken the time to identify the specific species. I can tell you it has a white flower. And I may annotate in the video, the contender species, but I'll get to why it's not necessary to identify the specific species in a second. But I wanted to also take a minute to point out a look-alike. It's right here. Okay, this is called crow's foot, and it's extremely poisonous. And the flowers are exactly the same color, look very similar. You can kind of tell with the leaves that they're darker green, because the native wild onion is kind of a bluish green, but some native wild onion is exactly the same color green. So really the best way to identify, and there's literally hundreds of these in the bed, by the way, the best way to identify native wild onion is to pluck off a leaf and smell it. If it smells like onion, it's probably onion. Almost definitely onion. So let me try to capture a few more of these. These onions are all over the property. I have spread these and propagated these everywhere. In this particular bed, I've got hundreds and hundreds. So they're just now coming up. Well, a couple weeks ago. I wanted to wait until they were big enough to where it would come out on camera and look halfway decent. Let's see here. I'll make this you can see it just grows right through the native grasses here. Right there. I just got them all over the place. And of course they bust out of their bed and they seed everywhere. All right, the next dormant crop. Well, before I get there, let me show you this. These are domesticated onions. And you can readily see the difference. See? The actual stems are hollow, just like the ones you buy in the store. And see? Whereas the native onion is more like chives. The leaf is just flat and not hollow. Let's see, I'll pluck one for you. You can see the difference. See the difference. That's the native wild onion. All right, you got me. Hope my smacking noises don't make it to the camera. All right, so this bed is another dormant crop that comes up. Started coming up a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. This is garlic. What type of garlic? I can't say for sure. I was working with my father many years ago, my late father, and we were helping a lady in the neighborhood clear out a garden bed. And I actually thought that this was like all irises or something, but when we were pulling it out, it started to reek of garlic. And much like the onion, one of the best ways to positively identify garlic is the smell. So, not sure what kind of garlic, but after clearing out that garden bed, my father suggested, very smartly, that I'd come home and grow it. And I tossed it in straight up clay and rock. And I left it there. I didn't do anything with it. When I finally decided I wanted to be a gardener, I came back to this crop and decided, you know what? The fact that it lived means I probably ought to be spreading it around, and I did. I've got it in every garden bed, and I use it as rhizome barrier, and of course you can eat it. You can eat the blooms, the leaves, and of course the bulbs. Okay. There you can see here in the back, you got garlic coming up in there. And I've got, like I mentioned, the native onion. You can see it coming up. It's all over the place. I guess the other one I wanted to point out is this bad boy right here. I've mentioned in earlier videos that I'll buy a bag of potatoes. I always buy organic potatoes. And if I don't eat them all, instead of throwing them in the garbage or the compost, I come outside and I throw them in the dirt somewhere. So I have potatoes coming up all over the property. Why do they come up this time of the year? I don't know. I don't actively farm potatoes, but I just harvest them. So that they come up, they grow, and I see them die back, I can dig in and I can start harvesting them all over the yard. So this time of the year, some of the potatoes actually do start coming up. Okay, so this is not a dormant crop. I showed this earlier in the year. It started coming up late summer. But it was an experiment that has turned out to work really well. This, what you're seeing here, is called broadleaf dock. And there's probably some curly dock mixed in as well. It is a non-native species, but it's like the dandelion, it's naturalized. It can have a tendency to take over, but that's exactly what I wanted. It has effectively killed almost all of the grass that was here. It's growing in almost total shade, but it also grows pretty decently well in full sun. So I'm using this, not only is it edible, but I'm also using it as a way to control. She just wants to get in the shot. Look at her. So I just want to, it also helps control the grass. And in this particular situation, it's really useful because it grows in almost total shade. So I have an edible that can grow in almost total shade, can survive the winter and the hot summers, needs no water or management, and kills my grass. So look at her. I just put some compost in there, and I haven't covered it yet, so she's insufferable, I swear. All right, so that's another little, it's not really a dormant crop, but it's one that starts to take off during this time of the year, so I thought it might be appropriate to cover it. So I wanted to capture this guy right here. This is wood sorrel. It's edible, has a lemony taste, produces a yellow flower that also has a lemony taste. I have it just about everywhere. I do collect the seeds and spread this around. So, you know, that's one reason why I have it everywhere, but it also is really good at propagating itself. The drought's been really hard on it this year, but nonetheless, I still have it everywhere. Mostly in the shaded areas, the semi-shaded areas is where I have it. This is one of the crops that I always skip over in my videos because I have so much of it. It's almost like background noise, but I probably should do more videos like this on this type of stuff. But yeah, you can see it's everywhere. So if you have this, consider growing it. It grows throughout the entire winter and summer. It's a nigh unkillable, so it's a really good choice. Say bye, Janice. Okay, whatever.